I think Summer, you have, in my opinion, the most incredible story arc from Hell's Kitchen.
Overworking myself. It's hard for me right now. I'm adjusting. Sometimes I could be a little strict, but it's like, if I'm showing you something, you have to listen to the words I'm saying. I want everything to be fresh. I want you to be on your shit. So, a pivotal moment in my career, so I want to make sure like I'm on my shit. Boom, just hit you. Like, oh no, you get a 1. How do I be better? I know how to do this. This is something that I can excel in. If I didn't come all the way out here and stop here, I know what I'm capable of, and I cannot let my fears, my anxiety block me from my moment. Like, I don't care about what nobody else thinks about me. I'm gonna show everybody that like I'm not here to play somebody else's competition. I'm here to just do me and fucking excel in that. Like, people don't see me as a threat, but I'm gonna show them I'm a threat.
In this episode of Sippin with Sakari, we sat down with Sommer Sellers, who's an amazing chef that was on season 21 of Hell's Kitchen. I had the pleasure of working with her, and she shares her incredible story from her journey from the entire time on Hell's Kitchen to being an African American in the industry as a chef and to what she's up to now. So you'll be able to see everything that's going on with Chef Sommer Sellers on this episode of Sippin with Sakari. Let's go. To another episode of Sippin with Sakari. We are here with Miss VIP Chef Sommer. Come on. Hey, Sommer, what are you sipping on? What's going on? What you sipping on?
Like, I don't know, it's just life just keeps moving after the show.
But what are you like sipping on right now? Like, are you drinking something?
I got some fresh H2O right here.
Oh, water. Okay. Stay hydrated.
That's just me right now.
I love it. I'm drinking a little tea.
What type of?
A little green matcha tea.
Okay. All right. You want to be energetic today.
Yeah, get the metabolism going. Well, cheers. Cheers to, seeing you again. Boom. Ding. Summer. So for people that don't know who Miss VIP is or haven't watched Hell's Kitchen and seen you become a rock star, can you give everybody listening, everybody watching, just a origin story about who Summer is? Who's Chef Summer?
Okay.
What's going on, y'all? I just have to take the time to say that it would really mean a lot to me, sincerely, all jokes aside. Forget the video, the camera that's in front of me, whatever it is. Sincerely, it would mean a lot if you could subscribe. It helps the video, it helps the channel. These algorithm times that we're in now, right? Like, it just helps. And this is what I want to do and continue to build my brand and continue to add value to people's lives, to whether it's entertainment, whether it's cooking tips, whatever it is. And the best way to do that is by subscribing, it's by following on our journey. You don't have to buy anything. Just subscribe. It will help. And it means a lot. So if I ever helped you anything, please subscribe. Love.
Back to the beginning, when VIP originated, it was my first kitchen job. I was still in culinary school, and I heard the chef say, "Oh, this table is VIP," and I was like, "Well, isn't everything VIP?" You know what I'm saying? And he laughed and he was like, "Oh, that," and I'm like, "But it's true though. Like, everything is VIP." And then I think I kind of was like competing with myself a little bit because I wanted to make sure, like, if I was going to serve a salmon, it's going to be the best salmon you've ever seen. It's going to be crispy, it's going to be nice in the middle. So I would set the standard like, okay, this is VIP, chef. Even if the ticket wasn't VIP, I still would try to make it to where, like, it was still finesse. And yeah, that's how it's after that. Like, that's just been my mantra.
I love it. So before you became, as we call it, VIP, who was Summer as like a kid, as a child? You know what I mean? Growing up, were you just eating everything in sight? Were you like, did you know you wanted to become a chef?
So I was just always intrigued with my mom cooking in the kitchen, going to my grandmother's house and shooting and all these things that like were exciting to me because I was very greedy. And just watching my mom like cook in the kitchen, I was always asking like, "Oh, do you need help with anything?" and it always piqued my interest. And then I knew that I loved to cook because when I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of Food Network. Like that's something that I would watch to go to sleep. And my dad would be like, Summer, you watching Food Network? I'm like, yeah, it's interesting. I like to see how they're gonna put the flavors together, you know? Like that's fun for me. So yeah, my whole life I enjoyed cooking, but I never took it seriously until my first year of college. And I really had like to think about what I wanted to do in my life. And I'm like, fucking let me see what it's about. Like, and I
Mm-hmm.
never.
So where is your family from? Right, you grew up around your family. You were intrigued in the kitchen. Where are they from?
So my mom is from Jamaica, and
Mm-hmm.
my dad, they're from South Carolina, North Carolina. So when I would go to my grandmother's house that lived in New York, it would be straight Southern food with a little bit of Caribbean influence because they still love all cultures there,
Yeah.
but like a lot of fatty stuff that was really rich and delicious. And then at home, I would have like traditional Jamaican stuff, curry chicken, stewed chicken,
Mm.
and dumpling in the morning, you know,
Mm.
and it's breadfruit roasting on the stove. Like that was my life.
That sounds delicious. What was your favorite thing eating growing up?
Oh, I was very greedy, but that's top one. Rice.
Mac and cheese.
My grandmother would be like, "Come on, we know you like rice." She used to put extra rice on my plate. I love
Rice on peas or just rice?
rice. I love peas. Don't get me wrong, but just like meal that has rice, like put extra because I'm gonna eat it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so you was just greedy, started loving food. When did you like, I guess, get your first kitchen job? Like when did you know that this was something you were like curious about almost like you started professionally almost?
When you go to culinary, they like try to encourage you to do like trails, to set up trails. So I think this was like my third month into culinary school. And I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm going to set up a trail at this restaurant.
So you went to culinary school.
Yeah, so I went to ICE in
Mm,
Brookfield Plaza Mall in New
okay.
York.
Okay. What
And
made you how'd you even get to that point? Right?
okay,
Like how did we get to there?
I my freshman year of college, right? I just finished and I had a conversation with my mom and I told her, like, listen, I think I want to take culinary seriously. I was looking at culinary schools. We found ICE in particular and I signed up for the open house. My mom was like, "Okay, we'll do the open house, but like I don't know for sure because that is expensive." So I was like, "Okay, no problem." We went to ICE. We walked around the school. We did the whole spiel, and she was like, "Oh, you have to go here," and I was like, "I know," because I saw it via the online, how it looked on their online website, and I'm like, "This is something I want to do."
Hmm.
So after having a talk with her, she said, "Okay, she'll take out a loan with me." Even though she didn't want to, because
Mm.
like loans is not something you want to be taking back whenever you're grown, when you're older.
Right. Right.
Sacrifice that because she saw it was my passion, and then ever since then, yeah, I went right to culinary school instead of going to college the second year. So I ended up going to culinary school, and yeah, it was a wrap.
What like first of all, like that's so beautiful and like important, right? Like I think having a parent figure or someone to believe in you and your passion and your dream, right? What do you think it was that you showed her, right? For everyone listening that like maybe has a dream and they want to go do something, but maybe their parent doesn't understand. What do you think it was that you showed her that you were passionate about food and cooking that she was like, you know what, I'm going to make this investment in my daughter, besides the fact that she loves you? Because,
Yeah, but
parents.
she, you know, it was just honestly my drive. Like in high school, I'm very studious. So, but sometimes in high school I would be like distracted. But like whenever it was time for me to take my test, like I would always pass it. So it was something for her. She wanted me to make sure that I was focused on school and not doing things at a whim. And before, when I had like the initial conversation with her, she told me to just finish here in college. And so when she said that to me, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be on my shit. I'm gonna focus, and I'm gonna show her that this is something I really want to do, and I'm not gonna let up. So after I finished the year, I re-brought up the conversation, and I did my research. I backed it up with things that I would tell her my dream. You know, I think it's just important to just be honest with your parents and show them your picture, because if you can see it, they can. And
Mm.
whenever and she was like, okay, I can see this for you.
And your
And
your mother grew up in Jamaica?
yeah, she grew up in Jamaica. She moved here her senior year of high school.
Mm. And do you think she's a driving force for your own personal drive? Like what drives Summer?
Of course, even my father. My father is a professional dancer, so he travels around the world. And for me, like, traveling is very important because of that. You know, I like to see new things, and having my mom being from Jamaica, like, it's things that I like to highlight in my cooking to pay homage to that side of my family. And yeah, seeing her drive, seeing her have to kind of, start from scratch and move to another country and build and put her feet. She has her master's degree. You know, that's important to me. Seeing her, like, not give up no matter her age, like, still go back to school, things like that. So for me, I want to do everything I can do right now. So later on, I'm set.
I love that. You know, for me, like my mom was always working, and my grandparents, my grandfather being from Jamaica, and my grandmother being from the South. My grandmother had like a master's in social work, but like seeing how hard they worked and just being around them a lot, and like hearing old stories, like old Southern stories and old Caribbean stories, right? Like I remember my
Yeah,
grandfather like telling me like, you know, he used to savor all the meat that he used to get because he didn't get to eat like a lot of protein growing up because there was like 8 kids and they had to split it up, and he would like leave his beverage for like the end of the meal because he only gets one glass of whatever he was be able to drink. So like all these like little things, and like he only had like one pair of shoes, and like, you know, he's like, why do you have so many shoes? I used to have like 12 pairs. I was like like growing up as a kid. So I guess for me, like, too, to relate, I guess, like, I think it was a huge driver to see someone like kind of just work so hard, you know, and
yeah.
just want to make them proud and stuff like that. So fast forward, you get to ice. Were you good? Were you good in school, or were you had to? Did you have to work at it?
I was good. I actually have a story
Uh huh.
about, but I was good.
Tell the people, they want to know.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the tea, and I don't really like to tell this story because I'm gonna tell you briefly the matcha latte. Like, okay, so let me tell you. Okay, I get the job, right? Let me just start there. I get the job. I do the trail, and I get offered the job off rip. And the chef is like, "Oh, when can you start? Like, you're good. Like, you're hopping on. You're learning fast. Like, we want you to work here." And I was like, damn, I wasn't expecting to get the job. I was just expecting to go and trail and then do another trail. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'll take it. I quit my job at Levi's. And then, and yeah, okay. So this is my first time working in a restaurant. So, like, they're long hours and your body is drained, right? So I was going to culinary school 3 days a week. One of those days was an 8 hour class, and that was on a Sunday. So some days we have tests. Okay. So this particular day, I was working, and I was very, very tired. So I wasn't able to study for my test, and I think I missed a day because I traveled. So I didn't know I missed a lesson basically. So somebody from another class gave me like the test sheet. So I was like, okay. So on my way to school, I was gonna study it, but I went to sleep. When I got there, I was late. And the teacher was like, "Oh, it's okay, Summer. You can take your test out there." She was like, "Don't worry about it." Because, like, I was cool with all the teachers. Like, I was good. I used to get everything. So she was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. You can sit in the hallway, do your test." So I was in the hallway. And then something in me was like, "Fuck it. Look at your phone." So I was looking at my phone trying to get the answers. But on my test, I was cheating. Yes, I was cheating on my test. Then the chef came out and she was just like, "Were you cheating on the test?" And I was like, "No." Like, And she was like, yes, you were. Like, yes, you were, because the guy told me, like, one of the people that clicked, they told her. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? She was like, how could you? She was like, out of everybody, I did not expect this from you. Like, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Oh no.
I'm overworking myself. I didn't have time to study. Like, it's just, it's hard for me right now. I'm adjusting. So she was like, oh, the first couple pages is not going to count. Only the last page will count. Well, I was like, okay. But she still gave me credit on the thing. She didn't feel me because she's had a soft spot for me. She just was disappointed. So
Oh.
I'm ashamed I cheated on a test and
What
I
did
got
you?
caught.
What did you? We've all been there. So we've all been there. I definitely.
Like, she dead asked me, and I was like, I looked her in the face and I said no. Like, and I know I did. I was cheating.
So, what did you learn? I guess from that lesson, you think?
I learned don't like overextend yourself. You know, like
Mm,
things are gonna be overwhelming, but don't like compromise your morals and your or like a moment of satisfaction, because things like that, people look at you and they expect more from you. Like, that's kind of hard to hear. You know, like, oh, you didn't expect me to be the one that's cheating on the test. Like, I don't want you to have that vibe of me. Like, I want you to think of me and think good things.
I
Yeah,
couldn't
so
agree more. One thing that I tell a lot of people is like the way I lead in the kitchen is through kind of like proudness and like disappointment versus like fear, right? Like I think a lot of people lead with fear, and I think
yeah,
like if you can make your team proud, um, and if they, and obviously if they don't measure up to whatever you're looking for, and it comes with that level of disappointment, I think that's a better, more effective way to lead versus like just screaming and yelling and like
yeah.
by fear. How does Summer lead in the kitchen? Because obviously I was able to experience you being a leader. You were voted number one leader in the kitchen, on Hell's Kitchen. So like, how does Summer lead?
So I really try to lead my experience as a line cook, and even now, like, I'm a sous chef. So every day is like a learning less. Like, every day you're learning. So for me, as of now, like, I look for everybody to be okay. Like, I want you to understand what I need from you. You know, sometimes I can be a little strict, but it's like, if I'm showing you something, you have to listen to the words I'm saying. I want everything to be fresh. I want you to be on your shit. So if something is fired and you have something to pair with it, time it in your head. Don't wait for me to tell you, like, oh, drop those fries. That I want you to just use your intuition and make it become like a second nature. Because when I would cook, whenever I made the food like that, like whenever I was like, okay, this goes with this is 2 minutes, and I had it all mapped out in my head, it increased my productivity. It increased the VIP, it increased my consistency. So I really try to lead with consistency. If I tell you something, I'm not going to tell you something different tomorrow. You know what I mean? I'm going to stay to my word. And if I ask for something a certain way, that's how I want it. So yeah, I just try to make sure everybody's consistent, make sure everybody, like, if I see somebody doing something the wrong way, I'll show them the correct way, or to and explain to them how this is better than doing it this way or making a shortcut. Things like that. Yeah, I feel like that's one thing I always remind people. Like, stop doing the shortcuts. Like, and I know you did a shortcut because I could tell. Like, don't
Yeah.
play with me.
Do you accredit that to like? Do you feel like you have a mentor? Like I talk a lot about this. I think it's important for people to have a mentor, or someone that they either learn from or look up to. But like, where did you learn these skills? Was it
Like,
Ice? Was it another restaurant?
because since I started working while I was still in culinary school, a lot of my culinary voice is shaped around that restaurant that I worked in, which was Oceana, and the chef there at the time was Bill Telepan. And I remember just going in there, and he's like kind of a little old school. You know what I'm saying? Like, he would yell at you, and I remember working and him being like, Summer, where's this? Summer, where's that? Like, just on me, on me, on me. So the next day, I tried to make sure he had nothing to say. And every day I had something to prove to myself. I'm like, okay, I got this. Like, I need all my prep, like, and I'm going to make sure I'm on point. And I kept doing that, and he kept moving me around to different stations, and I kept doing it again and again and again. And one day, I had to work my old station, and I was like in the shits. I was in the shits, and it's like the worst feeling ever. Like you running out of parsley. All I got is like, and I'm using a different herb that has like chives in it.
Yep.
And he decided to taste it, and he's like, and I'm running low on base scallops, so it's not parsley. It goes in the garbage. Make it over. And I'm like, okay. And in those moments, you don't have time to be like, chef, but this, but that. No, you got to get your pan down and get it going. Because you have to keep pushing. It's not about your failure. It's about how the fuck you gonna fix it and what's the next ticket. So
I
it's a
I
very
d- I definitely been there. For everybody listening that doesn't know what in the shits or in the weeds means, it's just basically when you are trying to get prepped and it's so busy, the restaurant is just flowing so much that like you're just running out of stuff. You're running out of parsley, you're running out of scallops.
yeah. And like honestly, I have pastas on the menu on my station. So I have 6 burners, but I found a way to make everything fit. Put things in the oven. Put a little veg stock in it so it won't overcook. Throw that in there. Like I
Yeah,
had a mess. So it was no way after that day. He was like, Summer, you work this station. You should have been prepared.
right.
And I'm like,
So
it won't happen.
so fast forward to then working with Gordon Ramsay, which obviously is one of the world's most well-known, most successful chefs on Hell's Kitchen. How was that
Yep.
experience for you?
That experience was crazy. Like, it was crazy. First, you have that feeling like, okay, this person is big, can be a pivotal moment in my career, So I want to make sure, like, I'm on my shit. And then I come in and he, like, boom, just hit you. Like, oh no, you get a 1. Like, okay, like, how do I be better? That's like really every day I thought, like, okay, stop worrying, stop stressing out. But it was major having him push me. It was major having him motivate me. Even when I was like a little down, but I still knew that like I'm the shit. Like that's how I feel, like especially with cooking. Like I feel like okay, like I know how to do this. This is something that I can excel in. And to have him like talk to me, have a little extra word with me and tell me like, yo, you from Brooklyn. Stop. And I'm like, okay, yeah,
I
like I'll be
think I think Summer, you have, in my opinion, the most incredible story arc from Hell's Kitchen.
well,
Right?
thank
In the Hell's Kitchen fandom,
you. Mm-hmm.
right? I think your story for that season, because I haven't really watched all the seasons, so I can't say anyone else. But for you to go from, for him to be like, yeah, 1, and then for you to get a black jacket, right, which is like the finals of Hell's Kitchen, and then get a 5, and really just show him, right, not talk about it, because a lot of people talk about it, but just show him like, yo, I know what I'm, you know what I mean? That full circle moment, I think, was incredible. Um,
That's what I was fighting for.
yeah.
That's how I'm just like, damn, I did not come all the way out here. This is things I told myself. I didn't come all the way out here to stop here. I know what I'm capable of, and I cannot let my fears, my anxiety block me from my moment.
But
And I think I reached like that peak of doubting myself or having like the team down me or even just consider that in my head. Like, and I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it for me. Like, I don't care about what nobody else thinks about me. I'm gonna show everybody that like I'm not here to play. You don't want to go up against me. And I remember like sitting at like the main table and everybody's like, oh, well, the first day they were like, oh, who do you see as your biggest competition? And everybody's like, Alex, Alex, Alex. And I didn't say anything because for me, I'm not gonna judge anybody based on like, and Alex is an amazing chef, but like based on what they tell everybody about themselves. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to see somebody else's competition. I'm here to just do me and fucking excel in that. And everything else was just like noise to me. Like,
mhm.
I don't care about that. Like, people don't see me as a threat, but I'm gonna show them I'm a threat.
It's you versus you.
Exactly. No, for real though, for real though. And
And you
that's what.
showed them. What do you think your biggest takeaway from Hell's Kitchen was?
Hmm. My biggest takeaway is like, honestly, you can do anything that you set your mind to. Like, that's something I wanted to do in my life, and I did it. You know, but another takeaway that I have is that's not my life. That's not my whole life. You know, that's just a fragment of my journey, and I'm so grateful to have had it. But I can't let that be the center of my culinary experience.
Mm, I love that. Now, being an African American woman in the culinary industry, it's not an easy thing, right? What are some of the challenges you think that you've like felt or seen, whether that's on the show or just in the industry at all? Like what are some of the challenges that you've been through?
I'll speak about in the industry because I really don't want the show situation because there are things I can say. It's not worth saying. But in the industry, I feel like being a woman, period, it's hard to get people to like listen to you the first time you say things. So sometimes you have to be a little bit more assertive in what you say, and people may take it the wrong way. But yeah, like even now, like I have to speak to a couple people. Like if this chef tells you something and you agree and you listen, if I tell you something, you listen, and that's just the end of it. You know what I mean? But some people feel like they can get away with more because you're a female or just don't have to respect you because it's a male dominated industry. Like I could count on my hand how many women work in the kitchen at my job, let alone being in a manager position. So sometimes it's hard to really like people doubt you. Like I even had somebody tell me the other day, like he said something but like for a girl or some shit like that, like in the kitchen, and I'm like, well, you're good for a guy. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh no, he said like, oh, she's fast for a girl because this girl works morning. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like,
Right,
you know what I
right, right.
like stigma that like girls they're not gonna be better than guys in the kitchen or oh she don't know what she's talking about or whatever, like but those things they're only mended with hard work and just the will to show people like, listen, I know what I'm talking about and I'm gonna show you I know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna keep showing you every day until you get with the program. But
Get with the program, people. Come on.
yeah, it's not an easy job, but it's I'm the one who wanted it. So
What do you think like you would say to the young, whether she's a young woman, a young cook, someone that's looking up to Summer, they seen you on Hell's Kitchen, Miss VIP, and they're like, yo, I want to be like her, or I wanna work in the industry. Like, what's some piece of advice that you would give to them?
don't stop and take everything with a grain of salt. Some days are more stressful than other days. Like you got to learn how to and like yeah, don't give up on yourself. Like don't let a bad service discourage you because there are always going to be bad services. The greatest chefs have had many. And like yeah, just don't stop. If you have a dream or if you feel like something is in your grasp, go after it. Don't feel like you're not enough. Don't feel like this. Don't feel like that. Just go after your dreams. You never know the potential people see in you.
Mm, I love that. There it is. Before we get out of here, I want to know what's next for Summer. What's going on with Summer? You know what I mean? Like, what's next for Summer? What do you see in your future?
So right now I'm kind of like getting into like the chef position. Like I feel like what's next for me is doing things kind of like on my own, not necessarily like working with a company, but like just working more for myself because then I can dictate the hours and things like that. But right now I'm in grind mode, so in this current moment I'm grinding. I'm getting my building up my resume because you have to make smart moves. You can't just off and not have nothing to show for yourself. You know what I mean? Like me, for instance, I never worked as a manager position. So like whenever you get one, you have to stay there at least a year. You have to get something because it's important in this career. So yeah, right now it's grind time and then it's sunshine.
Whoo, bars. Bars. I love it. I love it. Summer, where can people follow you? Where can they find you?
All right, you can follow me on Instagram at Sommer Sellers, SOMMERSELLERS, and I'm on Twitter at Chef Summer. I'm also on Facebook at Sommer Sellers, but I'm really on Instagram. If you want to see like the food that I make every day, check me out on Instagram.
I love that. And Summer, I want to end the show with one last question, which is if there was one thing in the world that you would want to change, what would it be?
Oh, wow, that's a deep. I feel like I'm in a pageant, right? Like, okay, one thing in the world that I probably like senseless war
Mm,
because, and that means like street war. That means like just things that are senseless because I feel like people getting murdered is not the way that like God intended. I believe in God. I don't feel like that's not the world that like we were meant to live in. And like when I have kids, I don't want them to live in a world like that. So for me, that's one thing that I really would change. Like killing people for no reason, things like that. That's something that like truly hurts me.
I love it. I agree. It's crazy. But on a high note, I want to say thank you so much. Summer, we became friends. I really admire your hard work, your work ethic, and then also just your food. We were able to cook together at Soho House, which was
Yeah,
some
we
fun stuff. And we've gotten to know each other and stuff like that. And you came through to the viewing party that I had as well. So I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate you being here. Time is the most valuable asset, and I'm always rooting for you in your corner for everything
likewise.
that you got going on. So I really appreciate you for
Thank you.
another episode of Sippin with Sakari.
Every
Everything is VIP. Cheers.
everything.
Boo boo.
Cheers. Be on the water tip.
On the water to get hydrated. Come on. Sippin with Sakari. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Sippin with Sakari. If you want better quality, better content, more kitchen tips on my shorts channel, whatever it is, please, please, please subscribe. It will help. It actually does help. These algorithms nowadays, it's important. So please subscribe, comment, share. Let us know what you want to see. Let us know what we can do better. Like, this is the time to get involved because I'm here for you guys. Lots of love.